Let's talk about Gypsy Rose in this lovely little quote. She is the walking, talking, drama-filled example of it. She cheated on Ryan with Ken. Then she ran off with Ken like he was Prince Charming. And then she turned around and emotionally cheated on Ken with Ryan. Make that make sense. That is not a love triangle. Yo, that's emotional whiplash. And neither one of these men realize they were just characters in the Gypsy Rose romantic revenge tour. So y'all, if people are still out here defending her or thinking she's just misunderstood, think again. She used Ken to escape Ryan. Then she used Ryan to escape Ken. And now everyone is hurt, confused, and being dragged on TikTok while she's over there posting mom content like she didn't light her whole love life on fire for attention.
And we also know that Gypsy recently unfollowed Ken on social media platforms either the day before Mother's Day or on Mother's Day. She recently did a live stream where she claims that she did that because he made a comment she didn't like. Gypsy Rose Blanchard has no business getting married to Ken anytime soon. It is very obvious that they have a lot that they need to work on.
Phew, let's get into it, because Gypsy Rose Blanchard is once again stirring the pot, and this time, she's serving a full buffet of confusion, delusion, and PR-level theatrics. Just weeks after having a whole emotional breakdown online over her ex Ryan, she's now popping up on TikTok and Instagram, grinning ear to ear, showing off moving boxes like she's about to star in her own Hallmark special. Sis is acting like she's got everything under control, like she's just days away from moving in with Ken and starting this perfect little family life, as if the internet didn't just watch her spiral out over another man and air out her drama for the entire world to see. Now let's be real, this isn't some girl simply trying to move forward and make better choices. This is calculated. It's staged. She's putting on a whole show, trying to repaint herself as the wholesome, reformed wife, ready to play house with Ken, when the truth is way messier than she wants to admit. This isn't healing. This isn't love. This is full-blown image rehab. Everything about her comeback feels forced. The sudden shift from crying on live about Ryan to posting sweet family photos with Ken? It's not natural. It's whiplash. She went from emotional wreck to domestic goddess overnight, and it's clear she's trying to rewrite the narrative without ever actually acknowledging the chaos she just caused. She's hoping people will forget. Hoping the internet's attention span is short enough to overlook the fact that she was caught texting and emotionally cheating, only to flip the script and now pretend like she and Ken are building a solid, healthy future. Girl, please. And the way she's presenting it all? It's too polished. Too overproduced. She's documenting every little thing, filming herself packing, showing off baby items, buying moving supplies, as if she's on an episode of Fixing My Life with Filters. But she's not moving across the country, she's not hauling furniture or downsizing a home. She's got maybe a few boxes of clothes and baby essentials. It's not a 5-week move, it's a 48-hour job. So why drag it out like it's this huge milestone? Because it's not about the move. It's about the message. She's trying to send a signal, look, everything's fine now. I'm with Ken, and we're moving forward. But baby, the internet sees through it, and the internet doesn't forget.
Okay, so I have exactly 5 weeks left on parole, and so I went to the store and I got some stuff to start packing my room at my parents' house. Obviously, I'm not gonna pack everything because I still have 5 weeks left, but I'm gonna pack up some of the stuff that like I don't use on a regular basis, like my winter clothes, things like that. Some of Aurora's stuffed animals, a lot of the stuff that like it was shown in the show that like I have 2 nurseries. So I have the one at my parents' house and then I have the one at Ken's house. So I boxed a lot of like the stuff, like stuffed animals, toys, clothes that she hasn't grown into yet, diapers that are like size 3 and 4. So I'm just kind of boxing up the stuff that I'm not going to use right now. I have a lot of clothes, like a lot of clothes. So that is my project for right now. And I'm probably just going to put a lot of this stuff in the corner right now until it comes time to move. But yeah, it's quite a project. But it'll at least make the transition more easier. That way I can just get my dad to get his truck and move some stuff that way. So that's my task for right now. Anybody wanted to know what my closet looks like? This is it. Yeah, it's very messy.
Let's talk about that Instagram post too, because that was strategic. She shared a photo of Ken holding their baby with this emotional caption about how powerful it was to see him step into fatherhood. And sure, on the surface, it was touching. But when you remember that she had just been caught emotionally entertaining Ryan, it feels less like a tribute to Ken and more like a guilty apology disguised as sentiment. A public olive branch. She's clearly trying to smooth things over, not with him in private, but with all of us watching. And Ken. He didn't acknowledge the post. No like. No comment. No repost. Nothing. He let that photo hang in the void, and that silence? Loud. Deafening, actually. He's not playing along, and it shows. And then came the Instagram cleanse. Gypsy deleted her couple pic profile photo and replaced it with a solo shot. Ken followed suit, wiping his whole page clean. No posts. No trace of Gypsy or their child. It was like he hit reset on his entire social media presence. That's not a couple in sync. That's not moving forward. That's two people living completely separate digital lives, and we all know in this era, that says everything.
Let's talk about Gypsy Rose and this lovely little quote. She is the walking, talking, drama-filled example of it. She cheated on Ryan with Ken. Then she ran off with Ken like he was Prince Charming. And then she turned around and emotionally cheated on Ken with Ryan. Make that make sense. That is not a love triangle. Yo, that's emotional whiplash. And neither one of these men realized they were just characters in the Gypsy Rose romantic revenge tour. So y'all, if people are still out here defending her, or thinking she's just misunderstood, think again. She used Ken to escape Ryan. Then she used Ryan to escape Ken. And now everyone is hurt, confused, and being dragged on TikTok while she's over there posting mom content like she didn't light her whole love life on fire for attention.
But the biggest mic drop? Christy, Gypsy's stepmom, just followed Ryan on Instagram. Yup, that Ryan. The same guy Gypsy was crying over and secretly messaging behind Ken's back. That move wasn't random. That was a signal. A power play. A little digital middle finger to the fantasy Gypsy's trying so hard to keep alive. It's giving messy family group chats. It's giving, we know more than we're saying. What's happening now is Gypsy trying to construct a fantasy out of broken pieces. She wants so badly for people to believe she's a reformed woman, back on track, committed to Ken, starting fresh. But none of the actions are adding up. Ken isn't playing along. The online chemistry is gone. The posts feel like scripted scenes. The happy family image is crumbling at the edges, and all the baby filters and caption dreams can't hold it together. This wasn't just any breakup, it was loud, calculated, and choreographed like a PR rollout. Every unfollow, every profile change, every carefully timed move made one thing very clear to anyone paying attention: something had gone down. And while no one said a word publicly, the message was deafening. But then came the backpedal, just days later. Out of nowhere, Gypsy quietly refollowed Ken. No post, no explanation, just a simple, sneaky little tap on the follow button like nothing ever happened. Almost like someone made a call behind the scenes. Maybe it was Christy, maybe it was a show producer, or maybe even Ken himself. But whoever it was, the instruction was obvious: clean it up. The public is catching on.
Ken Urker has to be furious at Gypsy Rose right now. And hot take here, I think he's more embarrassed than anything. I do think and have thought their relationship is on the rocks. I don't think it's going to last, y'all. Marcella writes, yeah, do not agree with her exposing that. Did you see her and Christy unfollowed Ken on IG today? She sure did. And then she followed him again this evening. Guess who else she's...
Unlike Glock, who owned her drama with chaotic honesty, Gypsy tried to patch the cracks and hope nobody noticed. But the problem is, once people see the cracks, you can't just slap a filter over them and act like everything's perfect again. The internet doesn't forget, and people definitely remember. You can't just rewrite a breakup because it no longer fits the aesthetic or storyline you want to push. And pretending like it never happened only makes it more obvious that something very real definitely did.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard thinks that Ken Urker is about to propose.
Hi there.
How are you?
Good, how's it going?
Good.
So Gypsy Rose Blanchard just posted this video reacting to her own television show, the trailer where Ken walks into the jewelry store to look at rings. So she wrote on the screen, "When you find out with the rest of the world, rings, question mark? Is there something I don't know?" A few things. Gypsy's basically insinuating that she has no idea what's going on in her own television show. It was also filmed in the past, so it wasn't recent, and Ken hasn't proposed so far. And if he were to do that, do you guys think that Lifetime would really ruin that? I mean, if they did, that's pretty shady. And we also know that Gypsy recently unfollowed Ken on social media platforms either the day before Mother's Day or on Mother's Day. She recently did a live stream where she claims that she did that because he made a comment she didn't like. Gypsy Rose Blanchard has no business getting married to Ken anytime soon. It is very obvious that they have a lot that they need to work on.
Now, let's talk about Christy, because if anyone is more invested in Gypsy and Ken's relationship than Gypsy herself, it's this woman. Christy has been working overtime behind the scenes, trying to keep their relationship stitched together, even when it's clearly unraveling. This past Mother's Day, Christy enlisted her content creator friend Natasha Cooper to leak a private message from Ken. It read, "Happy Mother's Day to my future mother-in-law." Cute on the surface, right? But let's be real, that was a calculated move. It wasn't a heartfelt family moment. It was PR. It was designed to convince the public that Ken was still in the picture, still part of the family, even if the reality behind the scenes was looking shaky. Christy's been doing this for a while. Every time Gypsy and Ken hit a rough patch, she jumps in with a glue stick and a game plan. But it's not just out of love or concern, there's something strategic going on. Christy needs Ken to stay around. He's malleable. He plays along. He lets the narrative be controlled. He's the opposite of Ryan, who was harder to shape. Even Ryan said it himself, Christy was the one who came to pick Gypsy up when she left. Christy was the one who convinced Gypsy that Ken didn't walk away because he stopped loving her, but because he wanted her to go find herself. She made sure the door to Ken stayed open, but the question is, why? What's in it for her? Maybe it's because Ken helps keep the family brand intact. Maybe he's just easier to mold into their scripted world. Whatever it is, Christy isn't letting go of this situation without a fight. Meanwhile, Gypsy's still out here acting like nothing ever happened. She's posting clips from the show as if they're recent, even though we all know they were filmed months ago. One clip in particular stood out, Ken walking into an engagement ring store. Anyone who's been watching the show closely knows that scene was filmed long before the current drama exploded. But Gypsy? She posted it on TikTok with a caption like, "When you find out where the rest of the world rings, is there something I don't know?" Acting all shocked and wide-eyed, like she was just as surprised as we were. Girl, please. That wasn't surprise. That was pure strategy. She knew exactly what she was doing. She wanted to shift the conversation, to make people wonder if a proposal was coming soon. She wanted to distract from the cheating rumors, from the Ryan scandal, from the fact that Ken has been completely silent. It was a glittery distraction, designed to reignite hope for a fairy tale ending that, honestly, probably isn't coming. Let's be honest, if Ken had actually proposed by now, we'd know. There'd be a post. There'd be a ring. There'd be photos plastered everywhere. But there's nothing. Just recycled footage made to look like a fresh update. She's trying to revive a storyline that's already flatlined, like reopening an old book and hoping a brand new chapter magically appears. And no matter how much sparkle she tries to add, the truth still cuts through. Ken hasn't proposed. Ken hasn't acknowledged the clip. Ken's gone quiet. But Gypsy doesn't want you thinking about that. She wants you distracted by the glittery engagement tease, hoping you'll forget the emotional betrayal, the manipulations, and the glaring silence from Ken's end. It's all smoke and mirrors. She tried to douse the fire with water, but in the process, she torched both bridges. What Gypsy didn't realize is just how visible her actions really were. She assumed her tearful videos, sweet messages, and emotional throwbacks to Ryan would stay tucked away in a quiet corner of the internet. But news travels fast, and receipts travel even faster. Ken saw it all, just like the rest of us. And once everything was out in the open, the illusion shattered. But instead of taking a step back, reflecting, or even offering a genuine apology, she went full denial mode. Now she's out here acting like nothing ever happened. posting sweet tributes to Ken like they're still solid, talking about moving in together like they're building a life, and stitching old clips from the show like they somehow represent her current reality. It's giving rerun, not real life. It's almost like she's stuck in a time loop, watching the same highlight reel of her past, hoping if she hits replay enough times, the ending will magically change, but she's not in that chapter anymore. That ship has sailed, babe. The rest of us have moved on to a whole new storyline, and she's still trying to rewrite the last one like it'll make a difference. And honestly, the more she pretends, the more draining it becomes, not just for her, but for everyone still watching. It's like watching someone keep rehearsing a cancelled play. She's hoping for applause that's never coming. The audience checked out a long time ago. We're not buying the fantasy anymore. The show's over. Time to face the facts. This isn't the first time we've seen this story unfold, and it probably won't be the last. The same drama, the same tears, the same fake reconciliations, followed by Christy swooping in with cleanup content, and then the overly sweet posts trying to gloss over something much deeper. It's like a tired rerun of a reality show that refuses to end. At this point, it's not even dramatic, it's dull. It's reheated, repetitive, and almost robotic. She's clearly following a script written seasons ago, and each time she hits play, it loses more and more impact. What used to spark emotion now just feels like performance. The audience is numb because we've seen this exact play too many times. And with every recycled storyline, the gap between Gypsy's version of events and reality gets wider. She's chasing a love story that doesn't exist anymore, if it ever did. She's clinging to a connection that's long since cracked, trying to use outdated footage, staged photos, and carefully planted family moments to recreate something that's clearly broken, if not entirely gone. The more she pushes this fantasy, the more out of touch she seems. She's not just disconnected, she's building castles in the sand. And every time the tide comes in, we watch her scramble to rebuild what was never solid in the first place. She's not healing. She's not growing. She's patching up a narrative that's collapsing right in front of us, and it shows. Here's the bottom line: Gypsy needs to stop. She needs to really sit with herself and recognize that some things can't be fixed. Ken didn't walk away for no reason, he left because it wasn't real anymore. No amount of nostalgic posts, moving boxes, or carefully timed clips is going to change that. We saw the likes. We saw the messages. We saw the FaceTime logs. The only question left now is, will Gypsy finally stop pretending? And that's the tea on Gypsy. What do you guys think? Is she finally ready to face reality, or is this fantasy going to keep dragging on? Drop your thoughts in the comments, don't forget to like, subscribe.